The Kunklun sect was sent by his master to investigate the disappearance of his senior sister and infiltrated the demon cult, but he unexpectedly rescued a strange man who was imprisoned in a secret chain. The man's bones were all broken using a terror pot. Yet he took care of him without loss. Just when he admired him for his strong will despite his physical disabilities, he discovered that the man was actually the demon cult leader he was looking for. Dressed in black, yet he moved through the deep night, like a forest ghost among the halls of the Tianxing sect. Avoiding all the guards and patrols, he headed toward the northwest palace. In a flash, Yeki leaped into that palace. The hall was dim. He grabbed the lotus lamp base on the wall behind the screen and turned it left half a circle, accompanied by a slight creaking sound. The wall with the huge landscape painting slowly opened, revealing a deep secret. Yeki quickly looked back, confirming nothing unusual behind him, then rushed in like an arrow from a bow. But surprises always come unexpected. On the way, Yeki's toes accidentally stepped on a loose stone brick. Immediately after, several subtle but chilling sounds came. Then countless hidden weapons shot at him like raindrops. Yeki reacted extremely. His body skillfully dodging this deadly. Who dares to trespass in the Tianxing sect? An angry shout suddenly rang out. As soon as the words fell, a bright blade light was already swinging toward him. Yeki's expression remained. He swiftly struck out with his precisely deflecting that blow. Then he spun around with hitting the guard hard in the chest. That guard was like a kite with a broken string, directly knocked dozens of meters away, with no power to fight. After dealing with the guard, Yeki continued toward the depths of the secret passage. But when he entered that secret chamber, he found that it wasn't his senior sister locked inside, but a strange man. The man had 2 iron chains piercing through his left and right shoulder. His clothes were already soaked with blood. He was not only kneeling on the ground, but his arms hung powerlessly at his sides. At a glance, it was clear that this man's hands and feet had been cruelly broken. Yeki was shocked. Aside from that unlucky guard, there was only this man here. Could he already be dead? With this thought flashing through his mind, Yeki immediately reached out, wanting to check if the other person was still breathing. Just as his fingers were about to touch the man suddenly opened his eyes. He immediately asked, "You're from the Kunlun sect. How did you get here?" Yeki was truly startled, instinctively asking back, "How do you know I'm from the Kunlun sect?" The man chuckled. The fallen goose palm of Kunlun sect, how could I not recognize it? It turned out that the exquisite palm technique he used against the god was immediately recognized by this man. Although Yeki was shocked, he still politely introduced himself. "I am Yeki, the 5th disciple of the Kunlun sect. May I ask who you are?" The man was silent for a moment, then slowly said. Yeki looked around, his heart full of doubt. "What grudge do you have with the demon cult? Why are you imprisoned here and subjected to such torture?" Zhang Changshan slightly raised an eyebrow. His face showed no trace of pain, instead showing some indifferent calmness. "I accidentally offended their left guard." Yeki couldn't help but feel admiration for this man. Having suffered such cruel torture in this harsh environment, we could still remain so calm and composed. This kind of spirit is truly rare. Just then, Zhang Changshan asked, "Young master, are you here to find someone?" Gently. "Right now, finding my senior sister is urgent." But this Jiang obviously also offended the demon cult. Because the former sect leader Yuan was a ruthless, a cruel and vicious scoundrel. Yin then committed horrific acts, like burning towns and kidnapping babies. He wouldn't even spare the candy from children's hands. What's more, Zhang offended their left guardian. Yeki's mind involuntarily conjured up his senior sister's face. His heart was torn. Who should he save first? He unconsciously gripped the sword in his hand. After thinking for a moment, Yeki made his decision. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Right now, saving people is most important. With this thought, he drew his sword without hesitation. A blue light instantly cut through the darkness of the secret. With a crisp clang, 1 iron chain broke immediately. Half of the man's body instantly collapsed, held up only by the other iron chain through his shoulder blade. In this pulling, fresh blood began flowing from his already dried wounds. However, Zhang Changshan didn't even frown. Instead praised good sword. To get the Kunlun sect leader's sword at such a young age, and have such impressive skills. It seems this kid has quite a high position. He didn't mind getting dirty. "Zhang, hang in there, I'll get you out of here right away." Zhang Changshan lay on Yeqi's back, telling him to run northeast where the guards were less strict. He, a mighty demon cult leader, was imprisoned in his own dungeon. Not only were his bones all broken, but iron chains pierced his shoulder blade. Until this young man named Ye appeared, cutting the chains with one sword to save him from Ye. But he had some inappropriate thought. It's about the young man who saved him. Escaping from the swords and shadows, the demon Ye carried Zhang Changshan all the way, riding a wind, finally stopping at an inconspicuous inn. At this moment he was sweating profusely as he settled Zhang Changshan in a chair. He had carried someone using lightness skills for over 300 miles without stopping, and was already exhausted. Zhang Changshan sat in the chair, but his gaze unconsciously fell on the constantly panting young man. He saw the young man's cotton collar slightly revealing a jade-white sea. Fine droplets of sweat covered it, like raindrops falling on a clear river, radiating an indestructible vitality. Zhang Changshan felt his throat involuntarily move. He hurriedly looked away. He hadn't been with women for a long time since his downfall. Now he was actually stirred by a man. It was truly absurd. Just then, there was suddenly a knock at the door. It was the inn's servant carrying in a steaming hot bathtub. Yeki turned to look at the filthy Zhang Changshan. "Zhang, let me help you take a bath first." Zhang Changshan slightly raised one eyebrow. With a faint smile at the corner of his mouth said that would be much appreciated. He carefully helped Zhang Chang take off his terribly dirty clothes, fully throwing them aside, then carried them into the bath. He also carefully placed the remaining half of the iron chain from Zhang Changshan's shoulder blade outside the towel. Yeki was holding Zhang Changshan's wrist, about to let go, when his expression, he couldn't believe what he felt, and carefully felt Zhang Changshan's pulse again, only then confirming he wasn't mistaken. Not only were Zhang Changshan's hands and feet broken, but his meridians were also severed. All meridians severed meant he had become a cripple. If it were an ordinary person facing this situation, they would have lost all hope and wanted to die. But Zhang seemed completely unconcerned. Mindedness was truly different from ordinary people. Ye Qi's heart was both shocked and sad. He stared at Zhang Changshan, not knowing what to say for a moment. After a long while, he slowly picked up a towel, gently wiping Zhang Changshan's cheeks. To break the awkward silence, he softly asked, Zhang, where is your home? Zhang Changshan replied indifferently, I'm a wander knight, I have no home. Ye Qi was slightly stunned. Earlier he was only focused on escaping and saving people, so he hadn't looked here for his appearance. Now seeing him with the mud washed from his face, he suddenly discovered that this man was actually a young man, as handsome as Pan. His features were refined, making it hard to look away. After his brief moment of distraction, just as he was about to speak, Zhang Changshan interrupted him first. Young Master Ye, could you be a good Samaritan and take me to Kongsang Valley? Ye Qi was surely knew that Kongsang Valley was the residence of the divine Dr. Bai Yu. In this world, if there was still someone who could save Zhang, it would only be Bai Yu. But he was somewhat troubled. The divine doctor had an eccentric temperament, really treated injuries, and his fees were outrageously expensive. Moreover, I really have urgent matters at hand. I'm afraid this trip would be wasted and delay time. Zhang Changshan comforted him. Don't worry, trip won't be wasted. Bai Yu owes me a favor from years ago, who will definitely treat me. Upon hearing this, Ye Qi's face immediately lit up with joy. That's great, Zhang. If Bai Yu is willing to save you, you'll have hope. Zhang Changshan looked at the young man's pure joy and was momentarily lost in thought. The gloom in his heart seemed to be dispelled by this vibrant emotion. Ye Qi picked up a wooden comb and gently combed his wet hair. With some apology in his tone, I don't have medicine with me and don't know how to treat. This iron chain will probably have to wait for the divine doctor to help her. Zhang Changshan suddenly asked how old Ye Qi answered without hesitation, 17. Zhang Changshan's eyes instantly flickered and he quickly looked away. Strong self-reproach surged in his. He actually had such inappropriate reactions to a half-grown child. He was worse than an animal. He was a famous divine doctor, but no one could move him in the slightest. Even when Kalinside disciples came carrying a patient with severed meridians, he lazily lied that he was just an apprentice. Even directly telling me. However, when the patient mentioned 100 the wooden door of Fulai Inn was suddenly pushed open violently. A travel worn left guardian, Wu Kengshan of the Tianxing sect appeared. He was all smiles welcoming two altar masters who had come afar. When everyone reached the guest room, Ming Yai poured tea. While smiling in response, left guardian, you're so polite. Coming personally to greet us. This place is only a day's journey from the Tianxing sect. With both altar masters coming personally, how could I not greet you personally? Left guardian, you're too kind. We haven't seen the sect leader for nearly 3 years. Seek offering. We wanted to pay our respects to the sect leader. However, Wu Kengshan frowned. This year probably won't work. The sect leader has been bewitched by some vixen these past few years. Last month he even went touring mountains and waters with that woman. Now his whereabouts are. As soon as he finished speaking, a disciple rushed in frantically, urgently shouting, Guardian, this is bad. Then quickly walked to Wu Kengshan's side, whispering in his ear. Wu Kengshan's face immediately changed. Obviously something extremely serious had happened. Both seeing in the other's eyes that something had happened to the Tianxing sect. On the other side, Kongsang Valley was far away. Ye Qi and Changshan traveled, rushing for over 10 days, finally reaching Kongsang Valley. The entrance to Kongsang Valley was very narrowly passable on foot. Ye Qi paid the driver in full and had him drive away, repeatedly instructing him not to reveal their whereabouts. Ye Qi carried Zhang Changshan into the courtyard, only to see many medicinal herbs drying in the yard, with almost no place to step, and not a single person. He listened carefully, faintly hearing the sound of grinding medicine from inside house. So he quickly raised his voice, identifying himself as Ye Qi from the council. This presumptuous visit is truly a last. Hope the divine doctor can treat the patient on my back, reading so clearly so. However, what came from inside was a lazy, dismissive voice. The divine doctor isn't here, I'm his apprentice, please go back, you too. Zhang Changshan wasn't someone easily fooled. He immediately called him out. When did the divine doctor take such a lazy apprentice? When told it was this morning. He immediately determined the divine doctor must still be inside. After being exposed, the person inside impatiently told him to leave. Anxiously turned to Zhang Changshan. Zhang, he's clearly turning us away. At this critical moment of stalemate, Zhang Changshan suddenly mentioned the flowers and those 500 taels of silver in Yangzhou. Immediately the bamboo door creaked open. A white-clothed man who looked only in his 20s appeared at the doorway. Seeing Zhang Changshan, he looked completely surprised. Just about to say the 3 words, that was forcibly interrupted by Zhang Changshan. So you really were inside? I'm Zhang Changshan. Greetings to the divine doctor, I wonder how you've been lately. Bai Yu glanced at Ye Qi, seeing Ye Qi looking completely confused, looking as obedient as a gentle little doll. Then he turned